Greetings, everyone. Throughout history, humans have always led the way in tool innovation. While certain animals such as crows, elephants, dolphins, octopuses, and primates have been observed using tools for survival, whether for gathering food or self-defense, our species has taken it to another level. We've not only created tools, but have also continuously refined and advanced them over the centuries. Our mastery over weaponry cemented our status as apex predators, and by the 9th century, we had discovered gunpowder, a revolutionary invention that gave birth to firearms. Since then, we've made incredible strides in firearm technology, reaching a point where nearly every gun produced today is designed to function reliably. However, even with all these advancements, some firearms remain notorious for being as much of a threat to their user as they are to their target. With that in mind, let's take a look at my top 5 most dangerous self-firing firearms. Number 5. Remington 700. The Remington 700 holds the title of the most widely used bolt-action rifle worldwide. This firearm is more commonly found than any other rifle of its type, particularly in the United States, where it has a significant presence. Manufactured by Remington Arms, the model 700 was introduced in 1962 as an improvement over the company's earlier M721, M722, M725 series, which first hit the market in 1948. Since its debut, the Remington 700 has undergone numerous modifications, resulting in a vast array of models with differences in materials, calibers, stock designs, and features. Some of the most well-known variations include the Model 700 A Deluxe, B Deluxe, Classic Deluxe, Safari, and Special Purpose Synthetic. While initially created for hunters, several versions have been adapted for law enforcement and military applications. Among these adaptations is the M24 sniper weapon system, which the U.S. Army adopted as its standard sniper rifle in 1988. Another military variation is the M40, developed for the U.S. Marine Corps during the Vietnam War. The M40 originated from the Remington Model 40X, a precision rifle designed for competitive shooting. Both the M24 and M40 were built using the Remington 700 action, proving the rifle's reliability over the decades. However, despite its long-standing reputation, the Remington 700 has a serious flaw, which is why it appears on this list. Every model manufactured before 2014 contained a defective trigger mechanism that could lead to accidental discharges when the safety was disengaged, even if the operator did not touch the trigger. Although only a small fraction of these rifles were reportedly affected, there have been numerous incidents, including fatalities, linked to this flaw. For years, Remington Arms dismissed concerns about the defect, despite receiving thousands of customer complaints and lawsuits. However, the company ultimately lost a major class action lawsuit, forcing them to recall 7.5 million rifles and replace the faulty triggers. Despite this, Remington continues to deny any design flaw, though the controversy surrounding this issue has played a role in the company's ongoing financial struggles. They have paid hundreds of out-of-court settlements related to this defect. If you own a Remington 700, check your trigger for a V-stamp. If you see this marking, your rifle has already been repaired by Remington. If not, it's strongly advised that you take it to a professional gunsmith and upgrade to a 2-stage trigger with a reliable safety mechanism. Number 4. Glock. Nowadays, practically everyone recognizes a Glock. With only a few exceptions, nearly all Glock handguns share a similar design featuring a steel slide and a polymer frame, which is intentionally thick to accommodate double-stack magazines. This design choice allows for high ammunition capacity, a key advantage of Glock pistols. The Glock 17, widely used by law enforcement officers, is a prime example. Despite its lightweight construction, it packs impressive power, capable of emptying its 18-round 9mm magazine in under 9 seconds. Known for its rugged durability and reliability, a Glock will fire every time the trigger is pulled, making it a trusted sidearm for professionals. Unlike classic semi-automatic pistols such as the 1911 or Browning High Power, which feature external manual safeties, Glocks lack a manual safety mechanism altogether. Depending on who you ask, this can either be an advantage or a serious liability. For some, the absence of a safety lever means faster response times in life or death situations, ensuring that the operator can draw and fire in one fluid motion without fumbling with extra controls. For others, it increases the risk of negligent discharges, particularly among inexperienced users or concealed carriers. Most factory Glock pistols have a trigger pull weight of 5 to 6 pounds, which is significantly lighter than the first pull on a traditional double-action, single-action handgun. This light trigger, combined with the absence of a manual safety, allows for rapid shooting, a major selling point for law enforcement and self-defense enthusiasts. Now, Glock supporters often argue that although there is no external safety, the firearm is equipped with 3 internal safeties designed to prevent accidental discharge from impacts or drops. The trigger safety itself is built into the blade of the trigger, meaning that, as long as the trigger is untouched, the gun won't fire, a seemingly foolproof design. However, in high-stress situations, it becomes increasingly difficult to keep fingers off the trigger, which is when mistakes happen. Another notable flaw is the disassembly process. Unlike many other handguns, Glocks require the trigger to be pulled before field stripping. This has led to numerous accidental discharges, as some users forgot to remove the loaded magazine before pulling the trigger. Unfortunately, there have been cases where this mistake resulted in serious injuries. To be clear, I personally carry Glocks and appreciate their advantages. However, from an objective standpoint, their design makes them among the most dangerous firearms, not because they malfunction, but because misuse or lack of training can have deadly consequences. Number 3. PT 24/7. This isn't the first time we've discussed safety and reliability issues affecting certain Taurus pistols, particularly models manufactured before 2016 that have since been discontinued. One such firearm is the Taurus PT 24/7, a budget-friendly, polymer-framed, full-size handgun that, like many other Taurus pistols, was marketed as an affordable alternative to higher-end brands. With a street price of around $350, the PT 24/7 was a solid deal for what it offered: a striker-fired design, second strike capability, a double-action, single-action trigger system, and a 3-position safety lever that also functioned as a decocker. Before its release, most double-action, single-action pistols relied on an external hammer and were generally heavier, steel-framed handguns. The Walther Ninety 9 was one of the few polymer-framed double-action, single-action options at the time, but it was significantly more expensive, often costing $200 more than the PT 24/7. Beyond its attractive pricing, the PT 24/7 had several strong selling points. Many users praised its ergonomic grip, well-balanced design, and natural pointability. The slight palm swell and aggressive checkering on the grip made it far more comfortable to hold, aim, and shoot compared to its primary competitor, the full-size Glock 17. Being a Daisei handgun, the PT-24-7 allowed users to decock the striker via its safety decocker lever when the pistol was cocked. If decocked with a round chambered, the trigger reverted to double action mode, meaning the first trigger pull was heavier, as it both cocked and released the striker to fire the chambered round. After firing, the slide cycled, ejecting the spent casing and loading a fresh cartridge, placing the pistol into single action mode with a much lighter trigger pull for subsequent shots. A notable feature of the PT-24-7 was its second strike capability if a round failed to fire due to a hard primer. The shooter could simply pull the trigger again, attempting to ignite the primer without manually cycling the slide. While this feature sounds great on paper, the decocker itself was the pistol's fatal flaw. Numerous documented reports describe instances where engaging the decocker with a loaded chamber caused the gun to fire unexpectedly. This serious safety defect led to multiple accidental discharges, making the PT-24-7 one of the most dangerous Taurus models ever produced. If you own a Taurus PT-24-7, you should seriously consider getting rid of it, as the risk of an unintended discharge is simply too high. Number 2. Winchester Model 1911 SL. When Winchester introduced the Model 1911 SL in 1911, semi-automatic shotguns were still a rare sight. The SL in its name stands for self-loading, marking Winchester's first attempt at producing an auto-loading shotgun to compete with Browning's Auto 5. Unfortunately, while the Winchester 1911 SL initially seemed promising, its design flaws ultimately led to a dangerous reputation. Available in 12-gauge, 16-gauge, 20-gauge, and 28-gauge, Winchester manufactured around 83,000 units of the Model 1911 SL, and many of them are still in circulation today. If you're considering purchasing one or already own one without knowing its risks, you should proceed with extreme caution. The core issue with the Winchester 1911 SL stemmed from the company's attempt to replicate aspects of the Browning Auto 5 while avoiding patent infringement. John Browning, the legendary firearm designer, had meticulously patented every key feature of the Auto 5, including its charging tab, a seemingly minor component that turned out to be crucial. To properly compete with the Auto 5, the Winchester 1911 SL was designed as a long recoil action shotgun, meaning the bolt and barrel moved backward together when firing a round. This motion ejected the spent shell and then chambered a new round as the barrel returned to battery, making the shotgun ready to fire again. However, there was one major difference between the Auto 5 and the 1911 SL, the method of loading. Since Winchester could not legally use the Auto 5's patented charging tab, they had to come up with a workaround. Instead of a conventional charging handle, the Winchester 1911 SL required the shooter to press down on the reciprocating barrel to cycle the action. This design proved to be not only impractical, but also extremely dangerous. Many owners found it difficult to depress the barrel manually, leading them to place the shotgun's buttstock on the ground and use both hands to force the barrel downward. Unfortunately, this often resulted in an accidental discharge, sending a fatal shotgun blast directly into the shooter's face. This flawed method of chambering a round led to numerous tragic deaths, earning the Winchester 1911 SL the notorious nickname the Widowmaker. Number 1. SIG P320. I used to be one of those people who proudly declared, the P320 was chosen as the U.S. military's official sidearm in 2017, designated as the M17 and M18. This selection skyrocketed its popularity, even though concerns about accidental discharges emerged soon after. Not long after its military adoption, a viral video surfaced, showing a P320 unintentionally firing when dropped, a revelation that led to intense scrutiny from both supporters and critics of the handgun. Through extensive testing, it was eventually determined that dropping the gun at a specific 30-degree angle from a certain height could cause the trigger to move backward due to inertia, resulting in an unintentional discharge. The issue? The trigger's weight was slightly excessive, increasing the risk. As expected, this led to legal consequences. In 2018, a lawsuit was filed against Sig Sauer, and after much litigation, a class action settlement was reached in early 2020. In response, Sig Sauer launched the Voluntary Upgrade Program, offering all P320 owners a free modification that included a lighter striker, sear, and trigger with the addition of a mechanical disconnector. Despite this fix, reports of accidental discharges persist, with many coming from law enforcement agencies. While most police departments keep such issues under wraps, those that have spoken out confirm the problem isn't completely solved. One notable example is the Wyoming Highway Patrol, which discontinued issuing the P320 in 2020 after an officer's pistol discharged unexpectedly. No injuries occurred, but the incident eroded trust in the firearm. Not all departments were as lucky. A few months ago, the Milwaukee Police Officers Union filed a lawsuit against the city, stating that the P320 can fire without the trigger being touched. The case centers around Officer Adam Maritato, who was shot in the leg when a colleague's P320 discharged during a struggle with a suspect. According to the plaintiffs, this is just one of at least 3 similar incidents involving Milwaukee officers. While the SIG P320 remains a widely used firearm, its history of accidental discharges undeniably places it among the most hazardous handguns available today. That wraps up our list of the top 5 most dangerous firearms. Do you think another weapon should have made the cut? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest content. Thanks for watching.